Hello everybody. In response to the great feedback that we've been receiving and in response to some specific questions that folks would like us to address, this is our second video in our Living in a Low Interest Rate Environment series, where we're addressing the most common questions and misconceptions around retiring in a low interest rate environment. So one of the big questions that is pressing on people's mind is, how long will low interest rates last? How long are these interest rates going to stay low? Because this affects people considering refinancing, retirees trying to live on interest, and a dozen other really significant aspects. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over in the next several videos ideas on how to help you navigate the impact that a low Fed rate has on all those individualized specifics of your life. Things like, how is this going to affect the overall economy, but then more personalized, your savings, your mortgage, your pension, your investments, really your overall retirement strategies. So I'll cover those in the next several videos. For now, I want to share some thoughts on why I think that low Fed rates are here to stay for a long time. Hence, if they're here to stay for a long time, why we really need to build strategies to capitalize on that. Part of this comes out of my 2009-2010 experience. It just worked out that during that time frame I attended these 3 different conferences where the main speakers were well-respected economists. Actually 7 of them during that time frame. I know I survived 7 economists in 2 years. I slept for a year afterwards and then woke up. Just kidding, of course not. That was below the belt, making cracks at economists. So at any rate, 7 well-respected economists, they all said within 1 to 2 years, the Fed would start increasing rates. Well, they were right. Their timing was a little off, like 8 years off. Because they were basing their decisions off of an old precedent, which is fine. We all have a strong tendency to do that. I get that. I think that I can show you some numbers that will help you start to understand the reality, which is the new precedent. So, all right, stick with me on the numbers here. Really, there's only 4 numbers I'm going to share with you, but it'll help you really understand where we're at. In 2008, the national debt was $5.8 trillion. So 2008, the national debt was $5.8 trillion. And the interest payments on that debt, those interest payments were $253 billion. So 5.8 trillion, 253 billion were the interest payments that had to come out of the government's budget. By the end of 2009, President Obama had become the president to create the most national debt. That national debt was over 7.5 trillion. Up to 7.5 trillion. So, any guesses on how much the interest payments were that year? Remember, they were 253 billion on 5.8 trillion in debt. Then the debt goes up to 7.5 trillion. How much will the interest payments go up? Are you ready? You got your guess? They went down. They went down to 187 billion. So the most debt ever issued, the biggest spending ever, the debt payment that had to come out of the federal budget went down. Talk about addicting. Talk about having your cake and eating it too. I really feel like, and I hope I'm more right than the economists of a few years ago, I really feel like that this was a watershed moment. So the way this had worked traditionally is the Fed, they would traditionally manage slow economies by lowering interest rates from normal levels. The reason that they would do that is that then that was supposed to make money more available, money more accessible, and that would stimulate the economy. But then they would raise interest rates back up to help curb inflation. And really importantly, they'd be ready to go for the next recession or the next economic slowdown. Well, that dynamic appears to be long gone. So instead, the new normal is to stimulate the economy, particularly with stimulus money. We remember all of those from your 2009, all of these different stimulus packages. We're very aware of those in 2020, what we're calling stimulus checks and stimulus packages. The way that the government has decided to pay for most of that stimulus money is to issue debt. So the mentality is, why not? If they can issue debt and interest rates on that debt are at all-time lows. To give you an idea, the Fed funds current rate target is 0%. It's 0 to 0.25%. That's their current target. So at these low interest rates, even though debt continues exploding, it only takes currently about 9 or 10% of the federal budget to cover those interest payments. So now for 2020, the current federal debt is supposed to grow by another 1.8 trillion. Pretty similar to what happened in 2009, but in 2009, they had wiggle room to grow the debt and lower the rates to make that payment more manageable. Currently, they don't have any more wiggle room to lower those rates. So now those increased payments on that increased debt, they're going to have to come out of the federal budget. Funds that are otherwise spent on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, your defense spending. Nobody in government wants to have more money come out of the other aspects of the federal budget. So any increase in interest rates will eat up more and more of the federal budget. So that's one of the big reasons that I don't see interest rates increasing anytime soon. That's a hard pill to swallow. Nobody in government wants to pay interest on all that debt and have to pay the piper at higher interest rates than what they're willing to pay right now, because it's got to come from somewhere to make those payments. Which is why you definitely need a plan and strategies to address the impact of low interest rates on your retirement for a long, long time. We'll cover those impacts in the next videos. We look forward to seeing you then. We'll catch you on the next Telton's Tip.
If this information has been helpful to you, check out our other Telton's Tips videos, or better yet, call our office. You can talk to an advanced financial planning team member like me. Imagine that, a real life human that cares about you and your goals. My name is Caden Keller. I work here as a financial advisor along with Telton and the rest of the team. Here, we take a team approach to caring for our clients, because we all know 2 heads are better than 1. So give our office a call, and I or anyone else on the team would be happy to answer a quick question for you or schedule a complimentary retirement planning meeting. There's also a link provided if you would like to learn more about who we are at Advanced Financial Planning, or what it is we do for our clients in planning for their retirement. Lastly, the schedule an appointment link will bring up our calendar, and you can choose a time for a complimentary on the phone or an in-person retirement planning meeting. Whichever option you choose, the only mistake is to do nothing and keep working and putting retirement preparation off until you die at your desk. I've seen it time and time again. No matter how good and specialized Telton and I are, when people wait too long to seriously consider their retirement options, they're significantly set back and can damage their retirement. So call, schedule, or click to learn more. You've got nothing to lose, and your future self in retirement has a whole lot to gain.